G'day guys, it's Stanley here from Instinct again. Today I'm out doing some clearing with the UFORCE 600. I've racked up about 10 hours on it now, so I thought I'd just run you through what I've learnt in the past 10 hours, which could be helpful for anyone who's looking to buy a UFORCE 600 or if you already own one. Let's jump into it. So at the moment I'm just doing some clearing of Lantana. If you're got this stuff on your property, then you know all about it. It actually pulls out quite easily, and I've been able to use the winch on the UFORCE 600, which has been super handy. Whenever I was winching, I had to make sure I had my foot firmly on the brake to stop me from moving forward, and I always made sure I just kept the gear in neutral to save loading up any of the gears in the transmission. Didn't want to do any damage in there. So you see there I've racked up 9.2 hours since the last video, which is not a huge deal. I think in kilometers that comes out to about 55 kilometers it is. Yeah, not a huge amount of work. I think the run-in period's still 20 hours on these, so it's not fully through the run-in period yet. But in that time I've had the privilege of using it for quite a few things. I've done some fencing with it, done some clearing with it now, done some cattle mustering as well, which is quite interesting in these. Still coming from the dirt bike background, you get quite used to the speed you can carry on the dirt bike, but you got to be a little more careful in the four-wheelers because you could end up on the lid pretty quickly. There's a few things I've learnt in the past almost 10 hours, which I'll try and relate it back to the initial video I did, the initial review. So we might just touch on that first. If you remember, there was two things I said that I wasn't really happy with a UFORCE 600. One was the throttle being too touchy, and the second one was that the gears were a bit too stiff. So just an update on that. I've learnt since that you have this function here, normal mode and work mode. Now, for me, logically, work mode meant that you'd probably end up getting some more power or something like that, but it turns out when you put it into work mode, it actually smooths out the power delivery and makes that throttle responsiveness a lot easier to deal with. So I guess that's the sort of, I wouldn't say it's a complete fix to the problem, because the downside of being on work mode is that you do lose some of that responsiveness. So when you're going up hills and stuff, it does feel a little bit underpowered, but then you can always flick it back into work mode and into normal mode, and off you go again. But I would say that putting it into work mode has sort of solved that problem when you're going over rough ground of it really wanting to be jittery on the throttle. So that's a positive. And the other one was the gears being a bit too tight to shift. I definitely think that is improved since I've had the first video when it only had an hour or two on it. It's still, like, I don't really have that many issues with it now, but from time to time you still get yourself into that position where you have to do that little bit of a shuffle in your seat to rock the thing back and forward, just to take the pressure off the gear and allow it to go into the other gear. So it's not only just the work things that I've been able to do with the UFORCE 600, I've actually had a bit of a chance to play around with it as well. As I probably mentioned a few times now on my videos, I come from a dirt bike background, so yeah, going fast in these things is something I wanted to test out, and I haven't pushed it to its limit yet, but I've definitely given it a good go around the tracks that I have for my motorbike, and it's really fun. It's definitely something I could see yourself getting a little bit carried away and probably end up doing something silly. So because it is a vehicle for the farm, I'm not trying to push it too hard. I don't want to hurt myself or break it. But just thought I'd mention that even though they are a work vehicle, you can still have a lot of fun with them as well. Tray here, you'll see I've got the spray tank set up. I've also used it to spray some weeds around the property. Got a bit of fencing wire in there from some fencing I did this morning. It is handy you've got these tie down points in the tray. Sort of stops the spray tank and the battery setup bouncing around, but thinking about something better for that in the future, just to save having to carry this battery pack around with me all the time. I know these have only got a small battery that come with them, so yeah, let's see if we can figure out a way to put something a little bigger in there that has a bit more capacity, so we can run our spray tank and everything and not worry about running it flat out in the paddock. See, I've gone and covered it in mud and everything now. Just looking over it, there's only a few spots where I can see some surface rust coming up. That's mainly on them machine surfaces around the swivel hub area there. Overall though, everything's holding up nicely. There's not really any rattles or anything that have started, which sometimes you expect on a new vehicle. So far so good. I'm pretty impressed with it still. Getting to use the winch today to pull out some of these Lantana was really handy, because I've used the tractor for most of it, because some of it was quite big, but for the bits of Lantana that were around trees and stuff, it was really handy just to be able to loop the winch around, tear that stuff out. Without having to muck around with the tractor and maneuver it everywhere, because the tractor's a lot bigger obviously. So yeah, really happy with the functionality of it. I wouldn't say I've gone hunting per se yet, but I'd still carry the rifle around the property, and this is my makeshift rifle holder at the moment. Not ideal, but seat belt looped through the gun bag is doing the job at the moment. Gonna come up with something a little easier in the future so it's easy to grab, but for now it's doing the job. So in terms of off-roading, I've only gotten it stuck once, and that was when I had, what was it, 3 adults and 3 children in there. It was a tight fit, and I went through a really muddy area and it was just too much weight. It got stuck. The main reason I think we got stuck was we ran out of ground clearance. It's the one thing that probably holds this back in terms of its off-road performance, is it's just not that high off the ground. So the only real way to get around that is to put some bigger wheels on, which is something I am interested in for the future, or bigger tires. Look, not super necessary at the moment, but if you were doing some hunting or something, it might be handy just to have a little bit more ground clearance as well, just to save you smacking on rocks or sticks and stuff. I have also contemplated the option of putting a lift kit in, but at the moment I'm thinking it's probably not necessary. It's got plenty of travel in the suspension, and I don't really want to sacrifice the stability too much, because when you do get on the steeper hills, it does start to feel a little bit awkward, and I can imagine if you lift it up even higher again, that's going to get worse. I just wanted to take a quick second to say thank you very much to everyone who jumped on board on that last video and gave me the positive feedback and all the comments. It meant a lot, because it isn't easy making a video like this and putting yourself out there, so to get a lot of that positive feedback was really humbling, and yeah, gets me motivated to make more of these videos. If there is anything in particular you'd like to see, just either drop me a message or drop a comment below. Helps me with coming up for ideas for content, and there might be particular questions you've got which are good to put in the videos, so don't be afraid to comment and let me know what you're thinking. Yeah, well, hopefully we can keep bringing out these videos going into the future. And so what's next for this UFORCE 600? Right now, I would love to just swing this camera around and show you what's on there at the moment, because I reckon it looks pretty cool, and I'm really excited about the stuff that we got on the way. But we'll just have to wait a little bit longer, because I don't want to get everyone excited until the stuff's ready to go and available on the website. As soon as it is, you're going to hear from us. So please keep an eye out on the socials, and on our website I'll try and do some install videos as soon as these new products come out. and I'll be curious to hear your thoughts on them. So for now, it's really just more product testing, more work around the farm, testing this thing out and trying to find out any little areas that need improvement. But going back to the same sort of conclusion on the first video is I'm impressed. I'm genuinely impressed by this thing. Super handy. It's you start thinking of things to do with it. Like, I never thought I'd be clearing Lantana with my UFORCE 600, but I had the idea this morning. The winch has definitely got enough grunt to pull Lantana out. I'm sure you wouldn't be pulling big trees out with it, but little things like that where it's just a lot easier than pulling out a bigger piece of machinery, you can still get away with it. So we'll keep testing it. We'll make another video hopefully in the next sort of 10 hours or so of done after the break-in period. I'd love to get it out to another property and do a hunting trip or something like that, because for me it's not only just a work vehicle, but I want to use it for some fun stuff as well. It's a good time of the year here in Queensland, in Australia. It's our winter period, so it's a great time to get out and go camping and hunting. So stay tuned. I'll hopefully have something up again soon, and hopefully have these new products out for you. Thanks again for watching. If you liked it, please subscribe and like. It does help a lot in building the YouTube channel up. Appreciate it, guys. We'll speak soon. Thank you.